Welcome, Vanguardian 650. Back at you with the back at you. I was just looking at some footage with this Mexico situation. Cartels warring. It's ugly. They said they had picked a new leader to take over for El Mencho. He was killed. But it's what's going on over there. You got it with the civilians and stuff like that. It gets ugly. It gets nasty out there. So be careful. But I don't know. These circumstances are a result of what can happen when people become. They feel like life has dealt them a bad hand, and they choose criminal activities, to make money. Sometimes that's the only, or sometimes they even forced into this game, into the drug game. So, can't cast judgment on a lot of these people because, like anything else, a lot of the citizens, that's all they know. They was forced into it by gunpoint, death. So you do your research. I'm pretty sure there's some documentation in regards to that. And so that's another thing. Survival at that moment. So, what do you expect? You have a rich America that has people that's in despair as well, lower economic conditions, and just, neighborhoods that they label ghettos and, hoods and stuff like that. So what do you think these people think? And a lot of, these billionaires and big businesses and stuff of that nature, the way they run narratives describing people in despair like that, as a result, what goes on in those neighborhoods, poverty and crime, and however they describe the statistics and the data. If you're overlooking your own citizens to enrich your coffers, your pockets, then they're gonna go all out in whatever they're into. You know what I'm saying? So they're gonna get weapons because weapons are so available, so easily accessible. Handguns, anything, any type of weapon. They're so easy to get. And so, there's that element, the underworld, the black market, the alluring lifestyle of that. And so they get into these fields and they rise up to, from the beginning, very humble beginnings, and they become significant in the game, doing whatever they have to do to survive and make it profitable for them. If I'm putting my life on the line, I might as well try to get some money out of it. You know what I mean? So the money becomes addictive too. So it's a two-way addiction: drug addiction, money addiction. Still an addiction, an addictive personality, as they say, right? It's a science to the madness. It's always, it's always a science to it, because that's how they run this whole program, based on science, information, data, projections, speculations, and run narratives, and put people in, what they call projects, and see how the numbers, how they bear out at the end of the year in those categories. So that's the science. Behaviors and all that comes into play. Clinical behaviors and when you throw alcohol, drugs into the mix, just based on depression too, dilapidated buildings, depressing neighborhoods. You don't seem like, no one seems like can get out of it. Everybody's frustrated. They put people on top of each other. You're stacked on top of each other. And for a lot of those citizens that's in those environments, raised in those environments, many of us have been raised in those environments. And so when we didn't partake in those, I can't say all of those activities, but, you might have dibble-dabbled, or let's say you got some smoke, some weed or something like that. So you are partaking in it. That's why I said the appetite. But you're not shoot 'em up, bang, bang. You know what I mean? You just going through, these people, things happen. You're in that environment. You know people that's doing it. But that's what they do. I'm just hustling and working, doing what I got to do. You know what I'm saying? To maintain. And then have a fun life after that. You know what I'm saying? So, a lot to take in, a lot to study. And, but people invite people, you meet friends and associates, and you still have to be careful. You just can't bring people you living with your family or whatever. You bring people that you meet, date or whatever, get to know you, want them to come over for dinner, whatever the situation is, vice versa. Dating a woman or a man, or a sister dating a man and stuff like that. But you don't know who these people are. You got to do recon at the end of the day. Who is he? Where's he from? You know what I mean? What neighborhood he's from? You know what I'm saying? What's his background? Does he speak any Spanish? You know what I'm saying? People got to do, you got to get the dossiers on people. You got to do your data too. You don't know who these people are. You infiltrate, you know what I'm saying? Whatever activity you into, you just going to be blessing people into your circle. I'm just saying, it's okay to be acquaintances. You know what I mean? You my man's buddy or whatever. You know what I mean? We cool out, but at the end of the day, I don't know you. Yeah. And next thing I know, there's a big jump out. Unscheduled jump out. You know what I mean? Gotta take it all in. These are just questions. These are just thoughts. These are just, I don't know, testimony, I guess. I don't know. These are just, like I say, questions, scenarios. I don't have all the answers. I'm just trying to figure out how they putting it together. Does it work? They seem to just run anything together and throw it to the public. And mainstream media, they so quick to just get ratings. They don't even check their balances and stuff like that. They don't do any type of background. Like, that's what I'm saying. Nobody's doing the background checks. Just throwing things out there for narratives, where it could be something totally different, or reasons, more reasonings why a person is in this situation. The whole story. You know what I mean? Not just your propaganda. But tell me how you feel, man. Leave your comments in the comments section, and we'll get back. Vanguardian 650. Peace.